The Colorado Avalanche win their third straight game to take a 3-1 series lead, and a series that many people thought would go a full 7 games, starting to look like anything but. But don't count your chickens before they hatch, sir. Let's talk about this game, and then we'll move on. The series heads back to Winnipeg, where the Avs maybe can wrap this thing up. New episode of Locked On Avalanche coming at you.
Your Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for tuning in, making it your first listen of the day. That's always appreciated. I'm your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Make sure you're following us on our social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter X, Locked On Avalanche, Instagram, and Threads. Questions, comments, concerns, and opinions, lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. Follow us on our YouTube channel. Hit subscribe, get notified when a new show goes live, and subscribe to our subtext as well. Link to that's in the show notes below. When you do chat with Kyle and I one-on-one, we get your opinion on everything Avalanche related, which we share on this wonderful podcast you are listening to right now. And Kyle will even do robot dances, apparently, if you sign up for subtext. So
the blessings just abund.
They're infinite. They're infinite. The blessings right now, the Avalanche are very. They're everything you need right now. It's great. Like things are going swimmingly for the Avalanche. You could not ask for this team to play any better than they are right now. And Kyle, man, like when the postseason started, we weren't sure. And this thing is not wrapped up. And I'm just talking about how the Avalanche have been playing really for the entirety of this series, including the game 1 loss, save for the goalie issues in that game. But you remove that, and the offense for 4 games has really had its way with the Winnipeg Jets. So much so that in this game, they finally pulled Connor Hellebuyck. I don't know if that we'll talk about that a little bit later, but for the Avs, let's just focus in on them right now. What more can you ask of them to do the way that they're playing right now? Everything is clicking right now for the Avs.
I love how you summarize it, that everything's going right for the Avs. Everything is going so right that all the small things came back.
Wow.
For that game. It was one of those moments that everything was feeling really good. And then they come back from commercial break and you hear it. And you're just like, you stop. Everybody stops. It's like, am I playing this out in my head? All you're expecting now is like Patrick Waugh to have a press conference and say, hey, I'm sorry for everything I did. Just what else can we wrap up in Avalanche fandom like to make this even more perfect? This is exactly what you want. Like Nichushkin going off, like Georgiev playing out of his mind, the defense looking great. Hey, everybody, Kovalenko. How about that? Who had that on their bingo card? It's just everything it's rolling. And for Connor Hellebuyck to get pulled, it honestly felt like a fever dream halfway through that game. You're like, what is going on here? And then the way it wrapped up, it just was the perfect bow on a really perfect game.
And at least I am, maybe you are too, a little bit kind of in shock, just with the way that the season has gone for the Avs. You have had these moments, you've had these stretches, but they were not. You had a 9-game winning streak, and I think you had 2 of those. And obviously, the way Nathan MacKinnon played for the duration of the season, but this was an up and down year for the Avs. And I always love how a team is playing heading into the postseason, and the Avs were not playing well heading into the postseason. And to play these 4 games. Is this like a Tampa Bay Lightning thing? Like not of this year, but and we've had crossovers with Adam. We've talked about it where it's just get us into the playoffs, because the Avs have done everything else, right? They've won the President's Trophy. They've obviously won the Stanley Cup. They've won the division, years in a row. And it's like that. Well, okay, that's all nice. That doesn't guarantee anything. Just get us into the playoffs, and then it's a whole new ball game. And look what they're doing. They are playing their best hockey when it counts. And obviously, this is when it counts. and you have to feel good now. Like, I know it's just the one team that you're playing against over and over again, and maybe that's it. Maybe that, and we all know what happened in the regular season. The Jets had their number. Well, like I think this is where this team and this coaching staff stands out to say, like, yeah, you got us in the regular season. We learned from all of that. We learned from those three losses, those 3 losses, and we are putting in place what we can do in meaningful, getting not the regular season, not meaningful, but postseason holds a little bit more weight. And look what they're doing. They're playing phenomenal hockey right now. Everything is I can't think of nothing sticks out in my head where it's like this needs massive improvement. There's always adjustments you can make here and there. But in the regular season, when it was like defense is struggling, Georgiev is struggling. Offense really never struggled. They led the league in goals, but you had power play was struggling. Penalty kill was struggling. All of that is like clean slate. Everything is beautiful right now.
And it feels like the Avs have kind of made that evolution to where the Boston Bruins have been for honestly the last 20 years, where you kind of forget they exist. You always know they're doing good. You really don't pay attention to the regular season, even when they had that monumental record type season. You just know they're going to be there, and they're going to be a force when they hit the playoffs. And I feel like the Avalanche have kind of made that step up that you really don't care what they're doing, what records they're setting in the regular season. You know they're going to be in the playoffs. It doesn't matter if they limp in or if they get the President's Trophy and are barreling into the playoffs. You know they're going to be a force. And everything you were talking about in this game, yes, it's kind of a shock the Avalanche are playing like this because all through the season we had no idea what the Avalanche are going to look like. And going forward, if the Avalanche do advance, when it talks to like Dallas or Vegas, how do they look? Oh, we're back to, this is going to be a tough battle, like blah, 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 blah. You know what it's going to be because you don't know what this Avalanche team looks like night in, night out. But the past 3 games, you can even say game 1 to an extent.
Sure.
Like, I had no idea they would be putting up these kind of numbers. And if you told me Nathan MacKinnon would only have 2 goals, Nichushkin has 6 points and it's 6 goals, it's just mind numbing.
Yeah, no, they've really just arrived. And everything, like, Nathan MacKinnon carries this team, right? And he's playing fine, but all of those other guys have just completely stepped it up. They've just Lehkonen stepped up. Your depth guys like Duhaime is stepping it up. Trennan is stepping up. Like they've all just seized the moment and like, this is the playoffs. It's now or never. So they're really just. I feel like they're having that like one big period in each of these games where they're just grabbing like the lead and not letting it go, and then just hunkering down on defense or whatever, however you want to, in the last game, they had to have a big third period, but that was the period. Like they're having like these big periods where they're just separating themselves from Winnipeg and they're not letting the Jets get back into the game. And that is a beautiful thing. If you're an Avalanche fan, you're getting these leads and not letting them go. Again, eliminate the first game because that was game 1, and maybe you're just getting your feet wet with playoff hockey, whatever the case may be. But since then, it's just they're staking their claim and they're just playing their game. You're having periods where scoring 3 goals in a period, 4 goals in a period, 5 goals in a period. It's just and before the Jets really realize what's going on, they can't come back from it. And the way the Avs are playing defense, you're struggling to score on them. This game, for Alexander Georgiev, they had 1 high danger shot on him and 4 medium danger shots on him. That is a team who is rallying around their goaltender, saying like, you know what, that first game, not completely on you. I think that's how the defense is saying it. I think the fan base is thinking a little bit different. Like he didn't have a good game, but they rallied around him and said like, we got to play better in front of you. 1 high danger chance. How many total shots on goal they had? They did have 27 shots on goal, which has got to be the most that they've had because they're really not letting Winnipeg do much offensively.
And when it comes to shots on goal, the Avalanche only had 5 in the third period. They didn't have to take a single shot in the third period and still would have outshot the Winnipeg Jets. And when you're talking about the high danger, chances for Winnipeg. This is a flip of the switch into playoff mode when the story throughout the regular season was the Avalanche have 26, 27 comeback wins. They're always, they have to come from behind, but they're a scrappy team. Now they have those big periods where they hold the lead and they just suffocate you. They take the life and the momentum out of you and they hold that lead. And you honestly doubt that you even like should be in this playoff series at certain points because this team just takes everything you do and just neutralizes it. And they don't put effort into it. It's just a clean game. And like the penalties are and the calls, even though there's some like the challenges are weird, the calls can be weird. This Avalanche game plan and play style is just a smooth running machine that it's almost immune to those and it doesn't throw everything out of whack.
They're rolling right now. There was something that I threw up on Twitter X, and I want to bring that up. So why don't we get our first break in, and we come back, more to talk about with this game and Val Nichushkin's hat trick. We will do his first of his career. We'll talk about that. Of course, our sound check. We got that to come up with a little bit later on. All right, we'll do that all next. All right, let's hear from FanDuel. It's playoff time in the NBA and NHL. Baseball's in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every game. And right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on an app that is safe and secure and easy to use. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet an automatic win. That, of course, is FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Also brought to you by GameTime, the GameTime app. It's an authorized ticket marketplace of the NBA, which means getting playoff tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the GameTime app actually go down the closer it gets to tip-off. And with killer last-minute deals, all-in pricing, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, GameTime takes the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets. Like we said, they have a last-minute deal. You can save up to 60% off buying last-minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy, and theater events. Those flash deals, the zone deals, the view from your seats. It's just it literally is the best experience buying tickets for wherever you are looking. So download the GameTime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. So again, create the account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNHL, LOCKEDON NHL for $20 off. Download GameTime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, so the Avs, one of the things they were talking about heading into the playoffs was like, you can't outscore your problems, right? That's not something you want to do for continue to do in playoff hockey. Avs they're not outscoring their problems because they're not just winning these games 5-4 or 6-5. Like they're scoring 5-6 goals and only letting up 1 or 2. Mm-hmm. And not only are they getting goals, like the shots on goal. So I just divided all these up between games. So game 1, you had 46 shots on goal and you had 6 goals. Game 2, you had 32 shots on goal and you had 5 goals. Game 3, 40 shots on goal, 6 goals. And game 4, 35 shots on goal and only 5 in the third period, 5 goals, and Hellebuyck was pulled in this game. This is against the greatest goalie in the league this season and statistically the best defensive team in the league this season as well in the Winnipeg Jets. And you are throwing pucks on net at will and scoring an insane amount of goals for a team that did not give up. They were the only team that gave up less than 200 goals in the season. I think they gave up 199, if I remember that correctly. And you are having your way with them. I didn't see this coming.
A team that has the game tape on you, beat you every regular season appearance, and beat you 7-0 just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Make it make sense. People are like, oh, the regular season doesn't matter. Like, no, I think it does matter because what they did to you matters. But again, I look at it from like the Avalanche perspective of they learn from it. They learn from it and use it to their advantage, not just go out and like, hey, let's just keep doing the same thing and see what happens. They just improved off of what they saw Winnipeg do, and Winnipeg.
And you locked up there, and it's almost a Rocky IV scenario. It's like the Avalanche learned from all of those regular season losses, and honestly, how Winnipeg came out in game one and their performance. It's the Avalanche turned every positive Winnipeg threw at them into a negative when it came playoff time, when rubber had to hit the road.
Mm-hmm.
The Avalanche are using all of that to their advantage. They're slowing the puck down. They're pushing the shots to the outside. They're being selective with their shots and peppering them with high quality shots.
So, and then in this game specifically, you had Nichushkin get his first hat trick, and that was funny. Like at the end, like they were trying to force the puck to him to get him the hat trick, which I get it. And it just didn't seem like it was going to work. Winnipeg got a stick in the way. They would carry the puck into their zone. It just seemed like time was ticking off the clock, but he got one last chance at it, and he put it home. And that obviously just gets the ball arena crowd going. But you got to feel good for Nichushkin. Everything that happened last year in the postseason, the injuries that he's dealt with last year and this year, he's had an incredible series. Absolutely. Like we said it when he was out and he came back. They miss this guy so much when he's not there. It is so you can just see it. It's like right in front of your face how important he is to what this team does.
And you can hear it in his reaction to how it all felt. He said it felt incredible. This season, he's had the ups and downs and the step backs and step ins, and it gives further closure on the Seattle bounce out last year, what was actually missing from that team. And it's the heart and soul. It's Valeri Nichushkin. Like he was going through stuff and addressed it this year, and you could see it in his play and the joy that he's playing with. And just he is everywhere. We talk about Casey Middlestat being so productive with the puck. Nichushkin does that loud. He is there. He's in Hellebuyck's face in the slot. He's scoring goals. Everything he's doing is just crisp and incredible right now. And again, another underrated member of the Avalanche that you just kind of forget about with all the big flashy names. Like league wide, Valeri Nichushkin deserves his roses.
Yeah. You mentioned Middlestat. I thought he played another excellent game. He is just getting into his comfort zone. You're getting top to bottom production on and off the stat sheet. The depth, I am continually impressed with the depth players in this series. They're playing fantastic. And keep in mind, like you're out Logan O'Connor. Yeah, Logan O'Connor's not. Jonathan Drouin is not there. No, he's not a depth guy, but you're down two big guys, and Kiviranta did not play in this game, and you bring up Kovalenko. Hey, kid, let's throw you to the wolves right away. That was a little bit of a surprise. I don't even think he played that much. He played 7 minutes. Okay, so hey, but what does that say, man? About they are comfortable enough with how they are playing that you're going to call him up to play in a playoff game. This is not Cale Makar coming in, against Calgary, like where the expectation a little bit higher, but he's coming off of an injury. Obviously, I was a little bit surprised that they brought him in, but I think it just speaks to the confidence that the Avs have in how they're playing against Winnipeg right now.
Yeah, and he looked fine, and he will acclimate to the game. And you heard his post-game comments, like, yes, it is a big adjustment, but I love the fact that we're almost 20 minutes into this episode, and somebody you just mentioned, Cale Makar probably had one of the most incredible goals of the year.
Beautiful.
And we're now 20 minutes of the episode talking about everyone else who had an incredible game and everything else that's going on. And Cale Makar went coast to coast with one of the dirtiest, filthiest, just man goals. We talked about the highlight reels. Those have been missing from Cale Makar in the regular season. Mm-hmm. Well, everybody, here you go. Congratulations. You now have your highlight reel Cale Makar goal.
He's been great all season. I think your top 3 guys for the Avs this series, probably Val Nichushkin, Cale Makar. I'm not saying in like any order, 1, 2, 3, whatever. And then I'm going to cheat and give you 2. I think it'd be Casey Middlestat and Georgiev.
I'll throw Lehkonen in there. I feel like
Lehkonen, he's been great too. Like
he's a lightning rod right now.
He is. This was a fantastic game for him, and I don't want to slight him either. I think that speaks to how well the Avs are playing. Like, I think if you told everybody to do this, like give me your top 3 guys for this series, you're gonna get different guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's how many guys are playing well for the Avs right now. And I was a little bit upset to see Kiviranta was not in the game, because I think he's been playing well. I think he's been having a great series. He's not loading up the stat sheet. That's not his game. He's throwing his body around. He's good transition. Just get the puck into the offensive zone. The depth guys at that fourth line is just cycling and just wearing out Winnipeg's fourth line, just to give your top line some fresh legs. Like, they're just doing their job. Everyone is doing their job, and it's really nice to see, because we really haven't seen it work this well all season long.
Yeah, if you got your DeLorean to 88 miles an hour and came back to that Winnipeg 7-0 beatdown and told me Valeri Nichushkin and Arturi Lehkonen have goal streaks to the point that Connor Hellebuyck gets pulled in the playoff series, I would laugh at your face and pull the flux capacitor. But right. that's where we're sitting right now as Avalanche fans.
I mean, even Miles Wood has had a couple goals in this series, so you're getting it from everywhere. On the Jets side, let's just turn our attention to them. Like, do they actually make a change here? Is that necessary? We'll do that. We have our Subtext crew, and of course, our sound check. Still got some stuff to get to. Stick around. We'll do that after this. All right, Monopoly Go. We're still playing it. It's still amazing. It's I'm telling you, this is one of the more fun games. It's pulling me away from another video game, which I won't name, that I've been playing for the better part of like 2 years now. I'm like a full Monopoly Go head. I don't know if that's the official title, but that's what I am.
We had 3 devices during the intermissions playing Monopoly Go at one time during this playoff game today.
All right, we got to pause here to talk more about Monopoly Go. I know what you're saying. Flag on the play. You've already talked about that, but there is just so much good stuff in this game. In Monopoly Go, you can team up with friends for timed tournaments where you work together to build up each other's boards. The more you win together, the more awesome prizes you unlock, and there's so much to get, like unique stickers that you can trade with friends to complete albums for big prizes, cool new playing pieces to travel the boards with, which I am so close to unlocking the dog. Everybody loves the classic dog. I almost have that. Hilarious emojis for taunting friends when you smash their buildings or heist their vaults. And Monopoly Go feels new and exciting every day with constantly changing tournaments and challenges. A ton include their own unique mini games like digging for a treasure or a robot pachinko machine. It's like Plinko. Seriously, like they just have all these like mini side quests that are just they're just fun to play. It's just a fun game. So there's always something fun to discover in Monopoly Go. So get off the bench and go download it for free on Google Play or the App Store. That's Monopoly Go. Game on. All right, sir. On the Winnipeg Jets side, you know, we said it how many times. Connor Hellebuyck's going to be your Vezina Trophy winner. He's obviously not looking like it in this series, not fully on him. Like you said earlier, when you're putting that many shots on net, it's going to be hard pressed for anybody to stop all of those shots. They pulled him after the second period in this game. The Avs had scored 4 by that point. Was that to just say, hey, like this game's getting a little bit out of hand, and let's head back to Winnipeg with you a little bit more rested? I don't know if that's the case, if you're going to let them rest like one period, or does this speak to could the Winnipeg Jets actually bench Connor Hellebuyck? I mean, he's given up a lot of goals, but he's your horse. He's your workhorse. Could they actually do this?
There's no way they bench Connor Hellebuyck for a possible closeout game, but you pull him in this instance because we talked about it in our summary of Game 3. Those goals, when he gets beat, they're bad, and you can tell body language speaks very loudly. And he's exhausted. He's frustrated, and he's just not seeing the puck like he did in the regular season. And you can see it translate to the team. It's the bizarro effect of the Colorado Avalanche coming into the playoffs. The Winnipeg Jets are suffering right now.
Yeah, I don't think they bench him to start the game. Like that's just not going to happen. Does the leash get maybe a little bit shorter? Maybe. Depends on how the game goes. Like because the Avs are having these, like what they did in the third period. He played fine in the first two periods, and then you just have a third period that just gets off the rails. So if that happens in the first period, sure, I think they do. I think they'd have to, but they're not gonna bench him to start the game. Like there's no way they do that. He's your all world goalie, but like the Avs did with Georgiev, you keep putting your you keep backing him as much as you can, and change things in front of him to make life easier for him. That's exactly what the Avalanche have done. They're not letting Winnipeg just take free shots at Georgiev. They're playing better defense. They're playing their man better, and the Jets continue to just let the Avs just do whatever they want. That needs to stop for them, and maybe Hellebuyck, he'll get you some saves, but you can't allow 40 shots on goal, and they continue to do that. So no, he starts this game, but if it gets if the Avs take that third period that they have, that 5-goal third period, and make that a first period, he's probably done.
But Rick Bowness knows just as well as you and me that if you pull Hellebuyck out of that goal, you're pulling the plug on home ice advantage. You're pulling fans out of the parking lot, out of Winnipeg, and the Avalanche will advance in your building to a quiet, empty arena.
Mm-hmm. So the Avs got his number. There's no doubt about that. They have his number. So, all right, let's hear from some of our subtext people chiming in on this game. We'll dive right into it. Madam Battleaxe, that was amazing. All of my operating room had no choice but to hear me yell and scream and cheer us on. Madam Battleaxe, take care of the people under the knife first. I'm just picturing her like handing a doctor scalpels and stuff with an Avalanche game on, and her screaming and yelling while someone's getting like a heart transplant or something like that. I really hope that's not the case, Madam Battleaxe.
If that was me on the table, I'd say, hold on. Okay, they scored. Continue.
So happy for Nichushkin and his first career hat trick. Well deserved. I knew Winnipeg was going to make adjustments, and they did, but so did we. Georgiev did so much better. Well, he should. He's pretty much playing for his job, but I'm very proud of him. We definitely need to go back to Winnipeg ahead because they're going to come at us with both barrels, and we need the cushion. So yeah, I mean, you want to finish it off there, right? You don't want to come back to Colorado. Finish it off. You get some more rest, and away you go. So
rest, yeah. Bring it on.
I know. Coy says, step 1, Georgie making saves. Check. Step 2, continue the offense. Check. Step 3, bench the Vezina finalists. Check. Step 4, number 13, Hattie. Check. As well on their way to NHL domination. Hey, Coy.
Who's to say no?
I won't get in your way. Absolutely not. Mark, excuse me, says, thankfully, my hockey forecasting skills are minimal at best. Avs played. I don't remember what he said. We had so many people chiming in, but I thought he said they were going to win that game. I don't think we had anybody predicting that they were going to lose it.
I don't think so.
I got to go back and look. But Avs played a great first and solid third. I was a bit nervous in the second, and he talks about Kovalenko. Was he dressed out? Yes. He was all right.
It was all right.
It was fine. No complaints. But we'll see. I mean, what was wrong with Kiviranta? Did they even say?
He says day to day with the LBI, but
LBI. All right. So he should be okay.
Those 3-letter words.
We got Heather with Jets getting the talking to their of their lives from their coach. She thought they were going to put up a better effort, but this was her prediction. Actually, she said the Avs are going to win this thing 5-4. That was before the game. You got the 5 part right.
The 4 wasn't there, but honestly, I had that same feeling going in. It might be a tighter game, but it was one of those that, especially pulling Hellebuyck, you really That just takes the wind out of your sails.
Joe says best performance of the series. Everyone was solid. What a game. My hat was on the ice for the Hattie. He was in the, remember we said Joe's going to the game, so it's going to be a win. And he threw his hat out there. Good for you. Good for you, man. He says everyone was solid. Yeah, I'm still waiting for Mikko. Like I'm still wanting him to rise up and kind of like take command, because him and McKinnon, they play off each other, and McKinnon is doing just fine, but he doesn't have Robin doing it with him. He's the Batman's doing it all by himself. So I think, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just matchups for Mikko, because these dudes are big on Winnipeg, but it's not.
He's got
horrible.
6 points. He's got 6 points. That's Valeri Nichushkin's at 6. Nate's got 7. Like, yes,
how many goals out of those 6?
0.
But that's part of his game. That's part of his game is scoring you goals. But
the Avalanche are up 3-1.
I get it. I'm nitpicking here. But a big part of his game is scoring goals, especially on the power play. And it's tough. You get that cross ice pass from McKinnon to Mikko. They're doing a good job of taking that away. But when Makar, who's running the point, and he passes off to Mikko, he's not firing. He's a little bit trigger shy, and he's not firing that puck on net. I want to see that, because you got 6 points. Great. If you add what he's capable of and another 3-4 goals, and he's the best player out there right now. But he's just not giving you that scoring touch.
You're not getting that from Nathan McKinnon either. But it's one of those things like, yeah, I understand you're not being flashy, but talk to me in the next round where we're really going to need that. No matter who comes out of that, then we'll start talking. That's when we start really saying, lighting a fire under these guys. Right now, things are okay, but next round, we will need you. It has to step up.
We got to get to the next round first. I don't want to be those guys that are just like, hey, we need you in the next round. But I think it's matchups. I think it's just a tough matchup for him. But we'll see. Amy, can really feel the momentum now. Feeling good about our chances to win the series. Cale Makar was in video game mode this game, and you love to see it. I responded to her by saying, like, Cale's been in video game mode this whole series. He's stepping it up.
Yeah, he's continually cleaned it up and gotten better. And he's the confidence. You can visually see it in Cale Makar right now. And the league is like, oh, yeah, Cale Makar. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah. I think most of the league knows that already. But, yeah, he continues to be good to say that. Tanya, what a game. That has to make you feel good. And I know he only tallied 1 assist on that perfect behind-the-net pass to Lecky. But what a game for Casey Middlestat. The read on that play shortly after, when everyone was piled up in front of the net, he just slips in, grabbed the puck, and made a shot. Too bad it hit the pad, because that was a great play from 37. I'm loving his playoff game. I was a little disappointed not to see some early magic from Kovalenko, but it would have been a lot to ask. Riding high now, boys. Riding high, all in. So I wasn't expecting much from Kovalenko. That's a big ask to, first game is a playoff. I mean, thank God it was on home ice. Yeah. Just imagine going into a place like Winnipeg. That's deer in headlights status right there. But I think good game to get your feet wet. And if you need another game out of him, let's see what he does.
Yeah, you're hoping this is more of a Cale Makar type experience than a Alex Newhook kind of experience.
Yep. And finally, Vargar says, if Makar keeps this up, the conversation won't be if he makes the Avs Mount Rushmore. It will be Makar on the NHL's all-time best defenseman Mount Rushmore. Also, I think you're right. I'll finish this comment, then I'll say, I think you're right. The national broadcast never favors the Avalanche. The media may love Cale, but they don't like the team. I put something up saying, like, was it me, or did it just seem like the TNT crew, not in the studio, the guys calling the game, were just a little bit like disappointed in the Jets, and they were a little bit disappointed that the Jets like lost the game. The focus was on them, and everything was like, the first comment was about how whatever happened on the ice affected the Jets, and not like, hey, the Avalanche are 1 game away from winning this series. Or it was all like, oh, Winnipeg's got to do this to clean up their game, and when they go back home, they got to do this, and Winnipeg, and then, oh yeah, by the way, Van Nichushkin had a hat trick. it was baffling to me that it was, and I'm not saying they're picking sides or anything, but it just seemed like the talk was Jets first when they weren't winning the game.
Yeah, it's
whatever.
They're getting ready to burn all their Jets notes, so they're getting it out in this game. So the next game they can just start talking as they advance.
And I haven't really been feeling like that over the course of this series, but for that game in particular, I'm like, why are they continuing to talk about, like, the game's over? There's 3 minutes left. And it's just, this is what the Jets need. Fine, talk about that. But when the game was over, the game went, clock read 0. They're walking off off the bench, and it's like, well, and this, do this, to get back in the series, and you want to bring the game back here. Avs are on the ice celebrating, and Nichushkin had a hat trick, and once again, and they forced Connor Hellebuyck to get pulled, and your first thoughts are on the Jets. Maybe I'm just being a little sour on that, but whatever.
Oh, they'll talk about us, don't you worry.
Yeah, whatever. All right, last thing to get to, and that is our sound check. This is where Kyle and I pick one song each, which we feel best describes the most recent game. These songs go up on a playlist over on Spotify. Just search LOA sound check volume number 3. This one goes on. What do you got for this one, sir?
This is a rare, odd pull, but this is a band that is influential to my jam guitar playing. One of my all-time favorites, Gap Band.
Don't know.
You
Okay.
do. You pull them up, you're going to know the Gap Band. They are.
Do they have? So it's like a jam band, you said?
It's a funky R&B, like.
So they probably have like a song in like a car commercial or something like that.
Probably. Oh, you pull up Gap Band, you've heard a couple of their songs.
Okay.
But we're gonna go with Party Train.
Sure.
Not only did Newt get his first career hat trick, but the momentum's back. All the small things is back.
Yeah.
It's a party and ball, and we're going to Winnipeg, and the party is just begun.
I love it. I you know what? Mine's kind of in that same realm. I've been going Pearl Jam. I'm going to get off of the Pearl Jam train right now. And I'm going to go to Liam Gallagher of Oasis. He's had a solo career and some good songs. This song, believe it or not, Dave Grohl plays drums on this song, and he produced some of the songs on this album. But the name of the song is Everything's Electric. It's kind of like what you're saying. It's like a party train. Like everything is rolling right now. Everything is electric with the Avalanche. Everything is just going well. Everything is exactly what. And Jared Benner even said after the game, they're doing everything I want them to do.
Yep.
He doesn't have any issues right now. So it's just all gravy right now for the Avalanche. Finish this series off. Just don't mess around. And I don't think they will. I think that they see like how well that they're playing and continue that, because if you let up and you let Winnipeg have a good game, then that just gets their confidence boosted. And even though they're heading back to ball, if they win this game in Winnipeg, they're heading into that game, if they really stick it to you, confident. So you got your foot on their throat. Now just increase the pressure a little bit more and take this series home. What do you think? Do it.
Oh, that you got to do it.
Got to do it.
It's right there.
All right. That's going to wrap it up for today, everybody. So thank you for tuning in and making this your first listen of the day. That is always appreciated. We will be back tomorrow to discuss anything going on. If we hear anything about Kiviranta or whatever is going on in this series, we're going to discuss it. That'll be on tomorrow's episode. So tune in to that. For now, he is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom. I am Chris Maselli, and this is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow.